Hello and welcome back. Our last video discussed the importance of this lecture, the complete guide to writing a legal memorandum. It also talked about the lecture's format. I'll deliver it in parts, some live and some on video. But I've done a number of things discussed in the last video to help you keep track of where we are at any given moment. This video jumps into the lecture proper, starting with the first item in our table of contents, the introduction section to a memorandum. Whenever we're discussing a new memo section, the first slide after the table of contents will be a short blurb that gives an overview of the topic at hand, like this one. I'll let you read it to yourself, and then I'll say a few things about the most important concepts, the ones I've highlighted in red. If we're doing this by video, like we are right now, you'll want to pause the video at this point to read the blurb. Now that you've read the blurb, let's talk about the highlights. First, keep the introduction short, no more than one sentence consisting of at most 3 lines of text. Second, keep the introduction generic. In other words, don't use any party names. Finally, use a high level of generality. Don't be too specific about the facts of the case. Let's see some examples. Of course, you've already read one example here in the model memorandum and seen it deconstructed in our workbook. But I want you to have some more examples before you try your own hand at it. Here's our first example. Notice that it's written at a very high level of generality. Introductions are written in a way that the larger issue, separated from the facts in which it's embedded, can be applied to other factual scenarios. Notice here that I use the word state, and I don't say the state of Illinois. Again, I don't mention the specific party to the case, and I keep things very general, so that the issue could be applied to other states. Notice too that I use the word individual, and I use the phrase on the basis of sex. In other words, I don't say that the litigant is a woman, because I want this to be applicable to other similar situations, like someone trying to deny a man a license to practice law on the basis he's a man, or maybe even to situations involving transgender or other qualities analogous to sex. Let's take a look at our second example. Again, it's written in a generic way. I don't mention any party names. It's also written at a high level of generality. I don't give too many details about what's going on within this family to cause this conflict. In our third example, we see again that it's short, that it has no party names, and that there aren't too many details about the case. I use the word circumstances instead of referencing the specifics of the lawsuit. On the other hand, I give enough facts that the reader knows why this case has turned into a lawsuit. For example, I talk about searching a car, and I talk about non-consent. These phrases are still general enough to be applicable to other cases. There are lots of searches involving cars, and non-consent is an important legal concept in the area of search and seizure. At the end of a section like this one, on how to write the intro, I often have a checklist, so you can check yourself and make sure you're doing things correctly. For the introduction, make sure it's one sentence and takes up no more than 3 lines of text. Write it at the broadest level of generality. Keep it generic, and incidentally, you should capitalize the word memorandum. In fact, you should always capitalize the name of a document when the document is talking about itself. With that, you're ready to try your own hand at writing an introduction section. Thanks, and see you next time when we discuss the next part of the memorandum, the question section.